Working from home was great. Because this whole working from work thing sucks.
I don't know, I just hate being at work.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
My go-to morning show.
I listen every morning.
On 93.3 KZOZ. Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. KZOZ FM San Luis Obispo.
Another round of tickets to see Rumors of Fleetwood Mac coming up at the end of the show today for Know the Show. It's a 4-pack of tickets, by the way. Doug picked them up yesterday. Maybe you pick them up today. Just be listening. If you catch the conversation that we asked you about at the end of the show, we'll bring up something we talked about. And if you were listening, then you call in. We say, thanks for listening, putting up with this. Good morning.
Good morning. On this day in 1937, the grocery shopping cart was invented. Sylvian Goldman, the one for inventing the shopping cart. And I wonder, Sylvian, I don't know, I'm guessing a man. Sylvian? Maybe it was a woman. I have no idea.
Wait, what year was it, Jeff? 1930 what? 1937?
1937. I wonder if the inventor of the shopping cart is happy with the advancements that have been made to the shopping cart.
Oh my God! You know what's crazy is the shopping cart got really big, right? Like it's been big, and if you noticed, they have the smaller cart now. The smaller cart looks almost identical to the one that this guy invented in 1937. I just brought up a picture of it. The shorter little one that you see at Vaughn's or Albertsons. Yes, yes, it's very, very
the
much
double-decker
similar.
one?
Yeah,
Are you talking about?
The double-decker one. I mean,
I love the double-decker one. It's the best. It's the best one. It doesn't take up a lot of real estate when you're pushing it. It's easy to push.
But the bulky stuff down below, the lighter stuff on top, works pretty good. Yeah.
No, that one's the best one. So they went back to basics, is what you're saying. Because, like, some grocery stores, they have shopping carts that are way too big. Costco being one of them. Costco's shopping cart is ridiculously large.
Well, it's a lot of big items.
I know.
You know what I don't understand is the Home Depot shopping cart. Now, you can do the flatbed or you can do the shopping cart. But I feel like there should be something in the middle because I don't want to push the flatbed around.
I agree.
For certain things. Yes. But I definitely need something bigger than the shopping cart, like to get fertilizer and some equipment and other stuff. You know, they had to get a spreader. I was getting a weed whacker, a blower, some fertilizer, a pump sprayer, whatever, blah, 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 blah. And I could barely get all that crap in there. But I didn't want to push the flatbed around. It's like, okay, I mean, like people that push the flatbed around and they have like 1 or 2 items on it, you're like, what are you compensating for, bro? What are you compensating for? Go get a shopping cart.
What if those items are really big though? I mean, like
they weren't though. They're always small. They're always small. Like they've got a potting soil and some fertilizer and a plant. Like, okay, you don't need the flatbed for that. It would fit in a cart.
Yeah, but it's easier to take like topsoil or potting soil and just transfer it from where it's sitting on the ground over to the flatbed instead of having to pick it up and clear the shopping cart walls.
I put it on the bottom of the shopping cart because not in the basket because the bottom is more like a flatbed. But I guess I see what you're saying there. But then that would piss me off if I'm somebody who really needed a big flatbed and I couldn't get one because some guy's walking around with some geraniums and some potting soil.
There's always flatbeds available. There's always flatbeds available at any home improvement store, whether it be Lowe's, whether it be Home Depot. I mean, they're always available. But the shopping cart was invented on this day in 1937, and subsequently enough, because of that, today is Shopping Cart Day. What I'm amazed at I see the hobos. They do an amazing job with the shopping cart of utilizing it to its full potential. Like you look at some of the stuff that they have and the attachments that they have on the shopping cart, and you're like, wow, there's some real ingenuity that goes into that process. And I need to take notes when I see somebody who's got a real, sometimes they can have their domicile attached to the shopping cart. Have you ever seen like somebody has like that tent that pops out of the back of their truck and it's part of their camping equipment? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. The bed tent. Yeah, I've known people that have these, or they come out of the back of the SUV and it'll attach, and then the tent is part of the SUV or whatever. Yeah,
that's just the non-homeless person's. That's somebody who's got a car, all that stuff. Shopping carts, you see them everywhere. Do you think they want the shopping cart back once it's been used like that?
Yes, I think they're not cheap. I mean, I'm sure they're not super expensive, but I'm sure they would like to keep them unless, and what are you going to do? Write it off to insurance and your rates go up? I mean, yeah, I'm sure they'd like their shopping carts back.
Shopping cart has to be a pretty expensive item for a grocery store or a retail store.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about it. They go into putting in that apparatus that that the wheels lock up if you leave like the property type thing. Like that's got to be pretty expensive.
Or like the stores where you have to put coins in now to use a shopping cart. I mean, you get your coin back, but
that is the best. That is the best thing to do, I think, to alleviate. Like I never see an Aldi shopping cart being used anywhere outside of the Aldi's parking lot because they give you that incentive to get your quarter back. It's a quarter.
Have you heard of the AI shopping carts? Yeah. The AI shopping cart. It's a new thing. This is going to be something expensive if it gets stolen. But the shopping cart is not just your cart that holds your groceries. It's also your register. And you can actually literally just scan, pay right there with your cart and leave. I was like, okay, I want to see how this works. We're going to find out more about the AI shopping cart to where you won't even have to go to self-checkout lines. Coming up.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.
All right, so apparently this is a new thing. Good morning, it is Jeff and Jeremy. If you missed it earlier, Jeff was saying that today's the anniversary of the shopping cart. It was developed by some guy in 1937. What was his name? Thomas Cart.
His name was Sylvian. Boy, you're going to make me relook.
Oh, it's okay. We'll look it up. But here's the thing. There's a new thing out now, and everybody's. I noticed when I went to Vaughn's, the shopping experience has completely changed. There was only 4 registers that had actually people that operated the registers. There was only 4 lanes of register people. What are they called? The checkers. 4 checkers. Everything else was self-checkout now. It is literally that big. It has gone from 16 checkout lines with checkers down to 4, and everything else is now self-checkout. And now they're talking about an AI shopping cart, where as you would shop, you would scan, you would pay right there on the cart, and you would leave.
How do they keep track of what you have?
Come on now. Are you kidding me? Where did this... Hold on one second. I'm going to try to play this for you if it'll play. So you walk in. It has a scanner right on the cart by the handle. Has a flat screen, just like your self-checkout. How do you weigh stuff, though? That's the question. I don't see a scale. Oh, there's the scale. It's right there. So you can actually hear the person scanning stuff as they put it in their cart. And some grocery store music. Some BioFree, some strawberries, some goldfish, a pineapple. This would be a time saver, though, right? And this would probably also assist the people that doing the checkout for you, meaning the self-shopper. Like you put your order in on the app, and then they go buy everything, and then they use the cart, they scan it all, and they're done.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But this would speed up leaving
talking
the
about
store.
the Instacart people?
I think I would be a fan of this. I mean, I'm sure there's going to be some way people can scam it, and they'll have to figure it out, and they'll slow you down. But right now, no more checkout lines, no more waiting for self-checkout or a register.
This is I can't believe, because he told me about it about 5-6 years ago, of a friend who lives in a place where there's a Sam's Club. And he was telling me about how Sam's Club's so much better than Costco. And I'm like, no, Costco's the best. And he's like, no, you don't understand. Sam's Club's way better because when you go to the area where the checkouts are, like there's checkouts there, there's guys walking around with a machine.
A handheld?
And the machine is a handheld. It is a scanner. It is a credit card processor. It is everything built into one. So somebody will see you looking like you're ready to check out. They're like, hey, you ready to check out? And you're like, yeah. And then he'll go up, scan everything and say, okay, that'll be $172. And he'll take your card, put it in the thing, run it, pull it out, give it back to you, print you up a receipt and give you the receipt. And then you're on your way.
Super efficient.
Damn.
Well, this would be even more efficient because you would do it all on your, on the cart.
Right. But there is error that gets brought into it. And I don't know, maybe AI
and there's
is
a possibility of theft, too.
RI.
And I figured they figured that out. So you got the cart there. And up where the handle is, there's a screen. And then in front of that, there's the scanner and a scale. And so you can do all your grocery shopping and then you would pay to leave. But there would have to be some way before you leave the store that they would have to know that you paid for those groceries. And maybe it's built into that cart to where as soon as you finish and you purchase and the purchase is done, when you drive through push through the doors, an alarm doesn't go off. Where if it doesn't read that cart when it's going through those doors and those scanners, then an alarm would go off. I don't really know.
There's a psychologist on TikTok because that's where all the leading health experts take their free advice. Her name's Leslie Dobson. She had 11 million viewers on a post. And she decided to explain why she didn't return the shopping cart at the grocery store.
Like what, to the cart thing?
To where the cart collection area, or maybe even inside the store, depending on where the store was.
You take yours back usually? I feel like a lazy ass if I don't take mine back, and I hate it when people just leave them in the parking space and then it takes up a parking.
I'll explain my strategy here. She's a mother of three. Okay, she's got a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 9-month-old. Okay. She says, I'm not going to get my groceries into my car, get my children into the car, and leave them in the car to go return the cart. She said that she thinks the dirty look she receives for her refusal of doing so is downright dirty. Some people did not agree with the stance. She says, I simply unload the groceries, return the cart, she doesn't say this, some other people say, I simply unload the groceries, return the cart with the kids, and then load them in the same way we got out of the car when we went to go get the cart.
There you go.
That's very simple. A Scientific American report found that those who don't return shopping carts typically believe it's someone else's job to get the carts or the supermarket's responsibility. Where do you think? Who do you think is responsible for returning the carts?
I think you're responsible. You took the cart. You didn't have to use the cart. The cart is there as a luxury, as far as I'm concerned. Luxury might not be the right word, but you know what I mean. It's there to assist you in your groceries, and then you should take it back. You took it. Bring it back to where you found it.
Here's the thing.
Was
If
it sitting
everybody
there
had
next to your Subaru Outback when you pulled into the parking lot? If it was there, okay, then you might have an argument. But we know it wasn't. It was inside the store. And they've actually made it easier to where you don't have to take it all the way inside the store. You just have to take it a couple of spots over to that cart collector area.
So there's a fair amount of cart collector areas in the grocery store parking lot. What I do when my kids were younger is I would strategize where to park. And usually the furthest out grocery cart collection area would have spots near it. So I'm like, okay, there's one right there. So park right next to it, or as close as I can next to it, and grab my kids out of the car, put them in the cart, walk the cart in with the kids in it, do all the shopping, take the cart back, unload my groceries with the kids still in the cart. Even I'm talking really young because she has a 9-month-old, with my kids still in the cart, and then walk it a few feet over to the collection area that I parked next to, and then grab my kids, put them in the car, and then take off. It really wasn't that hard, to be honest with you. It was very, very easy process. And I don't understand why she can't just strategize a little bit better. Like I said, sometimes those grocery store collection areas are far out in the parking lot, and nobody wants to park that far away from the door. Get a little exercise. Let the kids get a little sunshine, a little vitamin D. It's not going to kill them.
Apparently, there's a channel on YouTube. I just found it, and somebody just wrote in. It says Cart-Narcs, and they have a TikTok channel as well. And they go around and they videotape people and I guess give them a hard time about not returning their cart. And people get mad, and there's fights. It's nice. Like shopping cart for cops. And I would play one right now because I'm on Cart-Narcs' page on YouTube, but I don't know if the language is clean, so we'll have to watch that.
Can I tell you the one that I hate the most when I go into a grocery store parking lot is when somebody has just taken the cart and popped the wheels up on the front of the cart and put it like on some landscaping or on a curb. In a spot. So then you're driving around. You're like, oh, there's a spot right there. And then you go to pull in. You're like, oh, damn it. There's a cart. There's a cart sitting there. I can't pull all the way into the spot. So what do? I guess you pull part of the way into the spot, get out of the car, move the cart. But then you look like the jerk because you're not taking the cart back. But it's high centered on some landscaping. You don't know what to do. You're just trying to get your car all the way into the spot. It's a pain in the ass, man. And people like this, the psychologists, if anybody should understand the turmoil that this causes to society, it should be the psychologist in her holier than thou ways. No way I'm going to leave my kids and the groceries in the car while I return the cart.
Street Sweeper writes in, he says, the dude on Cart-Narcs almost dies every time. People hate him. So this is going to be, I can't wait to watch this. Somebody else writes in on the 805 beer text lines. By the way, you can weigh in 805-543-3693. Call or text there. The argument that it's someone else's job is BS. If everyone just returned their own, there wouldn't need to be several shifts of people paid to wrangle carts all day. That reduces overhead of the store and keeps the cost down. I was at Home Depot, and they got on the loudspeaker, and they're like, all available employees, or whatever they said, please return the carts, or go to the parking lot and grab carts. And so it's like, okay, well, that's fine. But usually it was somebody's job, but if it's not somebody's job, and if there is an employee who's stocking shelves, and now he's got to stop stocking shelves to go grab a cart because your fat ass was too lazy to return it, then I have a problem with that, because now, the product may not be on the shelf. Seems very inefficient. Hi, you're on the air with Jeff and Jeremy. Go ahead.
Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, you know what? If the stores have a problem with it, get rid of carts, because I'll tell you what, they make all their money by people throwing tons of crap in a cart. And if they didn't make that much money, they wouldn't have people to pay to even bring the carts back.
I get that. But what about when you pull in, like Jeff said, and there's carts blocking spaces, and it's just a mess? It's because people are lazy. So you're saying it's okay to be lazy because the store's making a bunch of money on it?
It's not about a laziness. Some people are just lame, no matter what. You're going to find that no matter what. Laziness, you know what? If people can't do that, that's their own problem. But you know what? The stores make a ton of money. If you look at prices right now in grocery stores, they're gouging. Like, prices have gone up over 40% on most of the stuff. And you have a cart, you're just throwing crap in there. If they got rid of carts, their sales would drop by about 40 to 50% because people would only buy what they need.
You think the stores are gouging you? Is that what you're saying?
Oh God! Look at how much prices have gone up in grocery stores in the last year.
Do you realize that they have to buy that from a supplier too, right? It's not like they're just raising prices.
Look at their annual reports. Look at their annual reports. You want to see some profit margins jump up?
I'll just say this. I don't know anybody in the grocery store business, but I do know people that own restaurants, and orange juice has gone up 90% in the last 2-3 years. 90% for them to pour orange juice. It's gone up. That's what they have to pay for it. So kegs of beer now, Coors Light, $160 for a keg. I remember 10 years ago, you could buy a keg for $60. I mean, prices, that's from the brewery. So, I mean, I'm just saying, I don't know if it's grocery stores just gouging you. I mean, they're having to pass that along because they're having to pay higher prices. And if they didn't, they would go out of business.
Well,
I have
carts and see how the supermarkets profits go.
I actually have a recession strategy when it comes to shopping, and I refuse to use a shopping cart anymore. I only use the handheld cart. And once that thing is filled up, because then it forces me to just get the necessities, once that thing is filled up, then I'm ready to go. I'm not going to, have to get something that is, what do you call that? Impulse buy. No impulse buys when you just walk around with that little hand cart, the little, I don't know what you call it. Yeah, the one you carry? Yeah, the carry cart. I think the people you need to talk to is the ones whose jobs are to get the carts out of the lot. Do they enjoy that? Because it does mean job security for them. I mean, I feel like in that industry, along with like the fast food industry and things like that, they are finding ways to cut costs, and usually it's employees that suffer the blow of that. If people didn't leave the carts laying all willy-nilly out in the parking lot, then maybe they wouldn't have a job.
Thanks for the call, buddy. We appreciate it. 805-543-3693. Your calls and more texts coming up.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning. Listen online at kzoz.com.
Here's a woman. She's driving a Mercedes SUV, and she just takes her cart and she shoves it up over the curb, the wheels over the curb, like you were just talking about, Jeff. Gets in her car to leave, and that's when Mr. Cart-Narc shows up to call her on.
Out there for you. And hopefully it'll make you think, like, oh, I was going to back out again. She's parked over the line there.
Don't touch my cart. You never ever again, buddy. If you want to end up with the cops, let me know.
What are the cops going to do?
Don't touch my car again.
That's not what they're going to say. They're going to say, ma'am, please take your cart back because it's in the way of people who want to load their groceries.
That's my car. Taser you.
Don't do that.
He's getting in the car.
She rolls.
She's backing up.
She rolls with the taser.
She's threatening with the
yeah,
cops being
she's got a
called for
taser.
Lord knows what.
So he puts magnets on
And
people's cars
tasering.
instead of a sticker. He puts a magnet on there
That was me a
that
moment
says
ago, not
you've been
It
Cart-Narced
appears
or
her
you're a
threats are
lazy
idle and
person.
empty. Oh, wait a minute.
Oh, she's coming
Have you
back
looked
for
at-
more. And I got to cut it there because that's where the language gets real saucy. Johnny writes in, he says, 3 shopping carts in a parking lot stall. I pulled up at Foodco in Santa Maria, got out of my car, pushed the carts further into the planter box that was in front of the parking stall. There was 3 of them there. It got stuck, so I gave it a heave-ho and flipped all 3 upside down into the planter box. And now you guys call me a bad guy? Whatever. I don't know if we would call you a bad guy, Johnny.
Well, if the people would have returned the carts in the first place, he would have never ran across that.
Exactly. He
Unnamed
wouldn't have had to
unnamed person.
throw those sons of bitches.
Unnamed person on the text line writes in and says, the argument that it's someone else's job is BS. If everyone just returned their own cart, they wouldn't have to have several shifts of people paid to wrangle carts all day. That reduces overhead of the store and keeps the cost that's being passed on to the customers down low. How about this from a marketing standpoint? Like, if you put a big sign out in front of the store, and it said, we keep our prices low by you returning our carts, your carts. And then everybody would kind of self-police. Like you would have like Cart-Narcs in the parking lot. Not really as hardcore as Cart-Narc is, but you would have like people would shame you for not returning your cart because there's a
but
big
most people
sign.
don't want to get involved, and they wouldn't do it. We need some people that's got some backbone that would
If you
step up
see
and-
something, and then after underneath that big sign, if you see something, say something.
Yes, that's one of my favorite things, right? I love that line. If you see something, say something. 805-543-3693. Hey, thanks for hanging on. Go ahead.
I just go to the grocery store and use a basket. Eliminates having to get a cart, and you're not spending as much money.
Yep.
Are you using the basket because you don't want to return the cart, or just because you don't want to buy that much stuff?
A little bit of both. But there are occasions where I do use the cart. And, like a proud American, I return it to the next cart station where they belong.
There you go. I mean, my thing is, there's 2 things that always crack me up, right? Number one is you go to Costco, everybody's trying to park closest to the door. But what do you do when you walk around a warehouse? You walk around 10 times more in that warehouse than you do to park 5 to 10 spaces further away from the door. You know what I mean? I've just never understood that rationale.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to walk around a warehouse for an hour, yet you can't park 5 spaces back, and you're like trying to jimmy. I don't know. That's always cracked me up. Same thing goes with the cart.
Usually, heck, when I walk into the front of the store, I want to be able to grab a cart or grab a dolly right there. You know, just be a good person and, pay it forward.
A good American. Thank you for the call. To good Americans everywhere that return their carts. 805-543-3693.
While we're on the Costco kick, what's your thought of there's these spots that are compact spots that they have the landscaping in it. They have like a tree in a parking lot or something like that. So the spot has to be shorter. But Dodge Ram dually that needs to park in that compact spot and then stick way out. What should we be saying to that person?
I don't know. I wouldn't say anything to that person. Anybody who's had enough to drive a big Dodge Ram dually, you don't want to mess with them. All right. As Daniel says, they're ready to go to war. I would just leave that one alone unless you have a death wish.
93.3 KZOZ rocks. Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.